and the first place winner and the recipient of a $250,000 award, Lillian K. Peterson.
I can't believe what just happened, that I just won first place at the world's most prestigious and oldest science fair.
Lillian, you're the first place winner of the Regeneron Science Talent Search. What was your winning project?
So I created a model to predict crop yields in every country in Africa 3 to 4 months before the harvest. This is very important because developing countries often lack monitoring and reporting of weather and crop health. So my system could allow aid organizations to respond faster to potential food crises.
And so what motivated you to take on a project like this one?
Well, 9 years ago, my family adopted my 3 younger siblings, all of whom faced food insecurity in their childhoods. When I read about a drought in Ethiopia in which 18 million people were at risk of starvation, I knew that this crisis would not end with the new harvest or the influx of food aid, because malnutrition is lifelong and hinders brain development. So I became motivated to monitor droughts as they develop.
So the ceremony to celebrate the winners had to be postponed and then eventually was moved entirely online. So you didn't get to meet up with your peers and other winners in Washington, D.C. How did they make that up to all of you, and what did you get to do instead?
Well, I would say that Society for Science and the public and Regeneron actually did a very good job at connecting all of the finalists remotely. They, first of all, sent us boxes and boxes of stuff, including a backdrop and camera and lights, to make it so we had like our own little production at our home. And then they hosted lots of game nights and virtual dance parties so that we could connect. And also, I'm going to go to Boston in the fall, where I will attend Harvard. And there I'll be able to meet up with almost half of the finalists who will be in the same area.
That's so amazing. So what is next for this project? Are you envisioning more research or its implementation? What comes next?
So I have presented this work at 11 aid and research organizations, and I have stayed in touch with them over the years. In fact, I just talked with top researchers at the International Food Policy Research Institute. And I'm giving a panel seminar with them tomorrow. So I hope to continue to work with other aid organizations to implement this project in whatever ways it's needed.
What's the reaction of the science community been to your work, both here in your community around New Mexico and nationally and internationally as well?
I would say that aid organizations have been very impressed with my work, and they like the idea of thinking on a larger scale, zooming out and creating a system that can predict crop yields in every climate, country, and crop. Because many current systems, it's very difficult to scale across large areas, so that's what's so unique about my model.
So take me down on the ground for a second, and let's envision, if you would, kind of a crop having been planted, and what happens next? Kind of, where are we? How would we use your project? What would that look like?
So I monitor the crop health during the growing season for every country in Africa, and I do that using satellite imagery. Basically, every single day, the satellite takes a picture of the ground, and the picture includes a bunch of different information of all of the bands of the electromagnetic spectrum. I then compute an index called NDVI. And basically, if the crops are greener, the NDVI is higher, meaning that the crops are healthier. So over the season, I continue to monitor the NDVI. And if the NDVI is significantly lower than average, I know that for that location, the crop yields are likely to be much lower. This could be a warning sign of a potential food crisis after the harvest.
So this prize also came along with a $250,000 prize. What are your plans to put that money to work?
Everything in the last couple of days has been happening so fast. I still haven't gotten a chance to think about it, but I know that I will be able to use the money in the future, whether that's creating my own startup or using it towards another project or funding graduate school. So for any of those possibilities, I'm so glad that I will have the option to be able to do that.
So how did you become interested in science? And whereas maybe some kids might think science is boring or too hard, can you talk a little bit about sort of your journey along the way to not just being successful in your project, but also kind of how you move along from start to finish on a project?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that science is much more interesting when you connect it to you and you connect it to things that you care about. So the first science fair project I did was when I was in 7th grade. And the root of it is that I am an avid skier. I love skiing. There's a ski hill 10 minutes away from my house, but sometimes we get really good snow and other years we get almost no snow at all. I had heard that this was tied to El Nino, and I wanted to see if that was true for myself. So I did a very simple project where I downloaded weather station data for Los Alamos, New Mexico, and I downloaded El Nino index. And then I found correlations between the two, and I actually was able to get a 5-month lead time for a prediction on how good the ski season is going to be. This was extremely interesting to me because it was a topic that I cared about. And I could make something that other people in my community care about as well. Even to this day, some people still come up to me and ask me whether they should buy a season pass. So to anyone interested in doing science, or even if someone's on the fence, I would say to make the science something that you care about, something that's really exciting, that could give you the potential to help your community even. And I think that big data analysis and computer programming is a great way to do this.
That sounds like great advice, especially for teachers and parents right now who maybe aren't quite sure what to do with students who have had to change their learning models so much. I'm curious if you have any other advice for teachers and parents who might be interested in connecting their kids and their students to science projects and kind of igniting that love like you have.
So I mentioned this a little bit, but I'm going to expand on it, which is I would recommend for any student to learn computer programming. Computer programming gives students the power to do real science at a young age. You don't have to have any sort of fancy degree. You just have to, you can download a data set on any topic you're interested in. And that can be biology, that can be the stock market, that can be the environment, anything that you want. There's data out there for it. And then I like using Python. I think it's great for beginners, but there's a ton of other programming languages out there. So students can download data and then do very simple calculations like correlations and best fit lines. And the power of those is amazing. It can lead to so much research and passions and real world impact.
Awesome, Lillian. Thanks for talking about that. I'm curious, your future plans, you alluded to them a little bit, but what are your plans for college and moving beyond college?
So in a couple of weeks, I will actually get to fly to Boston, where I'm going to go to Harvard. I plan to major in applied math and molecular biology, and I'm also very interested in computer science. I'm excited to continue doing research at Harvard and just exploring new clubs and activities and making new friends.
Awesome. Well, Lillian, congratulations. We can't wait to see what you do next. Thank you so much.
Thank you.